Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, Hero of the Reich, and Defender of the Fatherland, here to deliver onto your ears and eyes more propaganda. And today it's going to be a 1 versus 1 in the darkness of Semois. Again, yes indeed, again. Just imagine it's the Axis sending in someone slightly more competent than previous Wehrmacht commander and take back this place for the Fatherland and evict those damnable Americans. But of course that then begs the question, who shall be fighting? Well, here in the southern part we're going to be seeing Itaperuna fighting for the Americans, fighting for the 29th still, now holding the positions here and opposing them, or still holding them. It shall be, yes indeed, General Hill, aka Sugartitz, aka Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, for all I know, fighting for the Wehrmacht. Now the 352nd haven't been committed to lead the attack. In fact, let's get right down to it. And sort of, well, what games to choose and all that. Rather felt this one was actually the most interesting. But there you go. Can't always be, you know, a huge selection of great games. But on this Wehrmacht quarters going up. Pioneers sort of splitting up. Usual thing. Same sort of going on here again. I mean, nothing out of the ordinary. Really, and again, that's sort of the most usual stuff. I mean, there's nothing really to comment on here, and that's always the sort of thing, you know, wondering, should I just going for a flowing start, or, you know, should I just pause a bit and sort of get things done here? But, you know, the full grenadiers are on the way. I mean, for the Americans, again, barracks, very rare. You see weapon supports in the start, in particular when you get higher and higher up. And usually then there's sort of a combination in 4 engineers. Not so much, you know, hey, let's get some of their weapon supports in off right at the back. No, not quite. Full grenadiers are on the way from Mr. General Hill. Probably some riflemen on the way from here. Could be a jeep though. Could be a jeep. Would be a fun surprise. There we go. Full grenadier ready. Armed with Kar 98Ks and the STG 44. Quite no. We are in fact going to be seeing some riflemen for Itaperuna equipped with the M1 Garand and the M1 Carbine. Actually, so bit of a difference there. The squad leader being with the M1 Carbine, it's not so great. I mean, it's supposed to have some small advantages up close, I suppose, but I mean, the advantage certainly with squad leaders certainly lays with the full grenadiers. But then again, he also tends to be the first one to bite the dust, which is a bit unfortunate. But note here, he's actually pretty swiftly wiring off this area. And he's probably sort of trying to protect this area. In fact, particularly also the high munitions you see out of here, which is not an entirely bad idea. More full cannons on the way. And now, in fact, seeing a jeep coming out for Itaperuna. Some more mobile support could be used for harassment. I mean, certainly a bit of disruption could be very helpful. The Americans sort of seem to be veering towards the west. And there we go, catching some pioneers. Just as they're about to try and lay down some barbed wire here again to sort of protect the flanks. That's going to run into some problems, obviously. Fire there going after the pioneers. Volkswagen is hiding here, perhaps hoping to ambush some engineers. I mean, it's not again unusual, but apparently Itaperuna is just apparently having forgotten his engineers. And he doesn't actually bother to wire off this area, quite interesting enough, despite having wired this area off. Jeep continues moving about, catches some Volkswagen, so the Volkswagen catch it. Depends on the side of the story, I suppose. Quickly rushing towards the building, but nothing actually happens. And we actually see some engineers moving in from the south, coming under fire, and they're actually trying to sort of wire off this area, but they apparently decide otherwise. Bit sort of cautious by General Hill right here in the beginning. More riflemen on the way for Itaperuna. Sort of very light fighting. In fact, now both full grenadier teams are in the buildings right there, but not really doing much else. That's incredibly cautious. And I'm not entirely sure why he's continuing to keep in there. Seems a bit odd. Engineers are now breaking through here, and of course there's nothing to really stop them. MG42 is in a watch position right here, protecting against any things that might happen. There we go, MG42, Speers MG42, opening up on the riflemen. Mines going down here for General Hill. Another MG42 on the way. Folks going to slightly pulling away, keep moving in. And now moving in to try and stop those engineers going for harassment. We are seeing some flamethrowers up. But when they're sorted out, Americans really going towards here. They might in fact going for this viewpoint, of course. No barbed wire there for General Hill. He didn't feel like it, and of course that's something the Americans might use against him. Small engagement here, nothing further support though. The Volksgrenadiers are on their own. The MG42 neither. This is not good. This is not a good engagement. There we go. Flame for engineers, rifle, and a jeep. General Hill will have to pull out of this area before it turns completely messy. Pioneer down. Volksgrenadiers might be catching on fire any moment soon. No, apparently not. They have somewhat flame retardant, which is always nice to have, except if it's because they've been given asbestos vests. And there we go, 3 Volksgrenadiers down. They won't have to worry about the asbestos. And riflemen advancing up right there. Some engineers sneaking about there, might be repairing that jeep. Yes, indeed, MG42 trying to move in, minimize the damage that can be done there. And there we go, rifle moving in towards the north. And skirmish face up. So for the start here, we're seeing 2 Volksgrenadiers and 2 MG42s. Not an unusual Wehrmacht start. I mean, this is certainly one of the more common one alongside 2 Volksgrenadiers, an MG and a sniper. Although you think you get the sniper before the MG. Certainly also, oh dear, grenade from Itaperuna clearing out the MG. Naughty, naughty Itaperuna. Bunker going up though for General Hill. Probably a medic bunker actually. An MG42 being seized by the Americans. Probably Brooklyners. Yanking that MG from the crouch, making it property of Uncle Sam or Sipowitz, whoever. MG42 though getting hunted down, and oh dear, Itaperuna. I'm not entirely sure. I think he might not be quite paying attention, or he misclicked. That can happen either way. This MG42 is actually getting sorted out by the Volksgrenadiers, ready to recapture it for the glory of the fatherland in the 352nd. One of the, well, better divisions facing against the Americans right from the beginning. Better trained, better equipped, and all that.
Our base is under attack.
Then most of the other divisions that fought alongside for some part, which were basically fortress divisions. The 352nd was actually not quite. It was a regular infantry division with expectations of going towards the eastern front. And there we go. Assault moving through here. And what could Itaperuna be up to? Oh dear, he can actually sneak past the MG bunker right there. And he's actually moving in there. Flamethrower attacking all the remaining infantry. Rifleman with grenades, of course, can also prove to be a problem. But what is he doing? Sniper on the way, though, for General Hill. Medics picking up the wounded. And oh dear, he's got a demo charge. And he's going for the Wehrmacht quarters. And of course, this is only one of the more interesting things. I mean, I didn't even know you could sneak in like that into the Wehrmacht base in northern Semois. And he actually demolishes the Wehrmacht quarters, thus denying General Hill any sort of unit training, which is certainly going to be a bit of a blow. At the same time, of course, he can't reinforce that either, so now, of course, he has to stick with this until he gets there. He does, of course, have a medic bunker. That might help a bit, but not quite lovely. And mine goes off, killing a few MG42 gunners as well. General Hill is under a lot of pressure from all sides. Buildings down. And Itaperuna laying on the pressure at every angle. This is quite good. I mean, it's quite audacious, but clearly it worked. I mean, certainly something I might then, of course, recommend future American commanders to perhaps remember to try out themselves. Could work, you know, quite nicely again. You know, you sort of try to move through here, where neither of the MGs can then work, of course, and then you sort of stick to the wall and sneak through there. Of course, the counter would be to basically, you know, lay down some barbed wire here. But again, I don't think that's what most Wehrmacht players think about. Motor pool now going up for Itaperuna, laying down for some cavalry to break through the crowd lines. Jeep still proving to be a menace, named Dennis. Mines going down there. Oh dear, engineers getting sniped. Slight pressure right here in the east.
Supply lines are broken. We have territory cut off from
There we go, motor pool is up. Actually 3 engineer teams for Itaperuna, quite interesting. And 3 infantry teams and a jeep. More mines going down for General Hill. Nothing really going on in his base. He might actually end up being caught unprepared by an armored car if he's not careful. And it's certainly not helping, but there we go. Krieg barracks going up, although again it's not quite helping that he doesn't actually have access to any fuel at the moment. He has also gone defensive, so For the Fatherland is ready to energize his troops to resist more bullets or something. And there we go, Jeep getting hunted down. Panzerfaust knocking it out. The Jeep is finally gone, dead, deceased, off to join the choir invisible. And a large push right here by Itaperuna, a large assault force, which proceeds to run into a well-placed MG42. I mean, that's again why I don't want to be climbing up like that. That was a bit of a sad thing to see. Could have worked quite marvelously. Instead, it got stopped by a single MG42. But there we go. Greyhound ready. Kriegberg is up. Pack 38 on the way. More mines going down for General Hill. Armored car rushes in. And I think General Hill might be, of course, aware of what's going on. He's quickly laying down a mine right here in front. Of course, that the Greyhound tries to, of course, lay a mine right in front of there. Which means that if the pack gets out, then it's going to get immediately decrewed, thus allowing the M8 to cause further havoc. So laying down a mine right in front of there is in fact a rather common trick to sort of avoid that.
Our base is under attack.
And perhaps Itaperuna does not feel confident, of course. I mean, it's had its heyday, but then of course the trick sort of there appeared, so you're not going to see a lot of American commanders quite as much do it anymore. Rather than moving in from the south. Another push by Itaperuna. M8 running away, or driving away, I suppose. Not so many legs on that. And we are seeing infantry coming up for Itaperuna. He has howitzer barrages ready. He's making ready for a push and assault. He still has the grenades, of course, but of course with artillery chosen, he of course might want to save those munitions, so no grenades. Still holding most of the territory though. Not a lot going on for General Hill. He's still being sort of cautious. And M8 hitting a mine right there instead. Engine damage, rifleman supporting it, getting sniped. And coming under fire from the MG. American assault going on here in the north. Minesweepers clearing the way. Pack 38 though moving in. Hoping to get off a shot on that Greyhound and knock it out. For the Fatherland goes up. Panzerfaust doesn't quite manage it. Engineers rushing in. And the M8 is down. A casualty of the war against the Kraut. 29th suffering now. Staggering losses after having had a good start. Things are going less well. And these engineers trying to repeat the trick. Oh dear, are killed because they weren't properly supported. I mean, the reason why it worked in the first place, and apparently you can also sneak in through there, but the reason it worked, you know, was the proper support, the infantry, which rather managed to catch General Hill off guard. Now the M8 on the way though for Itaperuna. Artillery is also prepared. Flamethrower engineers charging at this congregation of Volksgrenadiers and Grenadiers, and looks like the Volksgrenadiers might be caught. Oh dear. No, they all managed to get the devil out of there. And interesting enough, General Hill has not been selling this for munitions. Bit of a waste, bit of a shame. But at least General Hill is now recapturing territory lost and making headway. Another M8 on the way. Nothing quite as exciting as of yet though. And looks like some mines going down there by General Hill, but my flamethrower engineers moving in. Going to scorch those Krauts.
The Huns are taking our territory.
Turn them into sauerkrauts. Ah ha ha. Oh, that was terrible. But further Grenadiers coming up for General Hill, now really laying on with the more tough infantry. MG sort of in a Schwerpunkt configuration right here, but there's a slight problem. They're all clumped around the medic bunker, and again, artillery, except all the munitions have actually been spent on something else. Probably all those upgrades for that one M8. 50 caliber on the way as well. That's only going to actually be quite helpful.
We have an upgrade.
Bit of harassment going on for General Hill. And Itaperuna doing the same. Now moving in towards the south. Cut off right there as well. Nice to see. Keeping up the pressure. Thus, of course, forcing General Hill to spread out his troops, who are still refusing to salvage those munitions. Graham, though, not really doing much, and those mines haven't been cancelled or finished. Recommendation would be to do either. And Grenadiers caught in the ditch, but it's running into the Pack 38. M8 has to be careful. And someone managed just to get behind some Bocage. It actually blocks the line of fire of the Grenadiers. I mean the Pack 38, not the Grenadiers. The Grenadiers, you know, just can't do much. Pulse Grenadiers forced off from the north. And numerous victory points in the hands of the 29th. Thus putting on the pressure even further. And again falling spread out. And there we go, another grenade against an MG42. Again clearing it out. Blowing up a tree in this process as well. And another attempt right here in the north, getting stopped by the other MG42. Grenadiers rushing in. Veteran T2 for the infantry. Good show, good show. And grenades getting locked at the riflemen. Not managing much in the same way though. Rifleman, oh, goodness gracious, taking heavy losses. Mines stopping the engineers and riflemen right there. So far the medic bunker has not really been able to give much for General Hill, I believe, which is a bit of a shame. Sometimes when you get a lot of it, other times not quite as much. Anti-tank on ready. Wonder what he intends to do with that though. MG42 not recruit though. Bit of a mistake. All seems to be slowing down there. Mines though continue to do quite a bit of damage to the Wehrmacht as they try to break out in the north. And a howitzer getting ready to support the 29th Infantry with some more closer support. So that's going to be a rude awakening for Hans, Fritz and Helmut. And there we go, probably going to firing into this area. This is in a nice spot. No, he goes after the suspected position of the medic bunker, which he actually has seen. And of course the building absorbs most of it, or might just be firing at the cafe. And engagement going on here, M8 doing a bit of damage. And 3 Grenadier teams, that's quite a force, that's 12 Grenadiers. Cafe taking a beating, MG42 actually clearing out. Thankfully all those Grenadiers are going to prevent any sort of direct rush with riflemen, although again they can't really defend themselves against that Greyhound. They don't have a Panzerschreck, and looks like Itaperuna is keeping his anti-tank gun in his base. And he's also making a push from the south though. Good move, he's not just again, you know, attacking in one place. Like for example here, he's also constantly moving about again, forcing General Hill to spread out his troops, and then again also making it easier to break through in one place, because currently he doesn't really have anything that could really allow him to sort of create a mobile reserve to really, you know, allow for better counterattacks. So of course, the other option is of course just to constantly shift about his forces, which is also going to make things a bit more difficult. But Sniper's actually still alive. Fancy that, I haven't seen in some time, but 15 kills, 16 kills. I've been taking heavy losses. Good push right there. And apparently having used some pioneers to recruit that MG42. Greyhound moving about in the north, minesweepers clearing out. And another barrage from the howitzer. Right there. Thus denying General Hill the opportunity to actually get back his munitions right away. So basically he's using it to delay things. Greyhound moving in here, doing a bit of harassment in the Wehrmacht base. Shooting up a few krauts. And perhaps leaving a rude note. But a Pack 38 has snuck in. M8 taking heavy damage. Dodges the next round though. And it's actually time for the mid-game analysis. The current situation is a bit dicey for General. He's actually quite exposed several flanks where, you know, a coordinated assault could push things a bit off line. And of course he does have that howitzer. Although at the same time, it might have been a idea for him to actually have gone for some armor, you know, getting a Sherman and then really breaking through as well, causing havoc. I mean, the anti-tank assets department of General Hill is pretty low. There's only one pack, and the Sherman could really, you know, take advantage of that and do some terrible things. On the other hand, General Hill needs to either get some half-tracks, form up some sort of mobile reserve using that, you know, quickly reacting, perhaps some Panzerjacks, that could be good, or getting a Sturmarmory, then getting some armored cars and perhaps a Stug, perhaps some Nebelwerfers, and in that way handling things. But he needs to create some sort of mobile reserve, and he also needs to sort of be a bit more aggressive, make some slightly greater punches to sort of take things back. Currently he's not quite achieving that. Let's return to the fight. M8 taking heavy damage, getting Panzer-Fausted. And making a run for it again. 5 kills, not much though, but still able to cause quite a bit of disruption. And what shall be going on here? No idea. Grenadiers and full screen move. Oh dear, hitting a mine, but only one man bites the dust. I suppose that's a small miracle. Engineers under heavy fire, being forced into full retreat, and the M8 pulls down here for a bit of a riverside view while it's getting repaired. A nice spot to have a picnic, except there's a war going on. And looks like General Hill is already on the track. Grenadiers and full screen is moving in, artillery firing away as well, and a second howitzer going up in Itaperuna space. Again going for the medic bunker, while riflemen are getting stopped by the MG42. M8 getting repaired, and sounds like some unit got it absolutely annihilated by that howitzer. Both rifleman teams taking up positions right there. M8 has to be careful though. And those engineers are getting gunned down again. Remember, don't try to repair units while under fire. They're going to be easier targets. More artillery fire to actually aid the riflemen inside the building. M8 trying to get out of there. Veterans 1 in the process, increasing speed, but then the engine gets damaged, and a Pak 38 shot to the side knocks it out, leaving it but a smouldering ruin. And the northern fields getting hammered with artillery, forcing away the false Grenadiers holding their positions though. And another harassment attempt by Itaperuna. It's actually time to have a look at General Hill once more.
Sniper ready for the struggle.
Well, that was a bit fancy. Grenadiers and sniper on the move, making a nice little team there. Bit of resource being floated, but we are also now seeing a Sturmarmory going up, and 2 armored cars on the way for him, in fact.
The Americans are capturing a sector.
Having apparently been on lend for the 17th. MG42 getting recruited. One mobile pioneers, it seems like. Seem to be a bit too keen, in fact, on using pioneers to recruit his MG42s. And he's not repaired that medic bunker either, though those pioneers might be on there to do that. But a small little artillery battery of howitzers, that's going to prove quite the nuisance to General Hill, I wager. What's more, going in after the medic bunker again. The position of the sort of bunker actually absorbs some of the fire by the cafe, and of course defensive also makes it harder to damage. So it's a rather nice combination right here, of course, ensuring that that medic bunker won't be going down anytime soon, unless of course being rather heavily focused down by both howitzers. And that's actually going to mean that's 2 howitzers on 1 target, and not on, say, you know, some infantry, which might be a lot less likely to survive. Armored cars now pouncing upon the riflemen.
The Yankees are grabbing our territory.
And lobbing a grenade, hoping to set something off, of course. Not a bad idea. A sort of slightly more expensive minesweeper in a sense. But apparently he's still not confident, which is obvious since there's 2 mines, but of course you can't see that. More artillery, and again he's sort of, he's hammering this point, but he just can't reach it. I mean, it's a very nice show we're getting right there, but I mean, it's not really doing much, and it's not really contending with the majority of the units which General Hill actually employs. And I'm getting the sort of opposite with Fraps. Now it's not actually lowering, but it's actually increasing to beyond what's usual. Which is actually not good either, I think. Not if Windows have a say in it. Because that means the farm's actually going to be bigger. Well, that's odd. Oh well. And sounds like a mine went off right there. Anti-tank gun has actually been pulled away from base duties. Sturmgeschütz 4 is ready. This time though from the Panzerjägerabteilung of the 352nd, which were not equipped with mortars because they couldn't get those. Instead they got Sturmgeschütz from some wrecked Sturmgeschützabteilung. So that was usually where the mortars actually went to, and by the later stages of the war. That was later taken over though by the Hetzer, which could also sort of double as an assault gun and was sort of intended as that. Panzer Division at this stage of the war were supposed to sort of get the Jagdpanzer 4 if possible. Oh dear, Volkswagen is getting scorched, burned. Oh, horror. Armored car rushing in, quickly saving things though. More artillery perhaps. Again, yes indeed. A small artillery park right there for the Americans. Again, trying to stop any breakthroughs here in the north. Quite interesting. Although now he does seem to be firing more blindly. That's rarely a good sign, though. More Sturmgeschütz on the way. No veterancy for the armor, though, and a Nebelwerfer also howling at the Americans. Not quite managing either, though. Bit of a few artillery darts, I'd say. But the 17th SS, for example, actually got Marder 3s for its Panzerjägerabteilung when it was supposed to get Jagdpanzer 4s. Trouble was they never actually arrived and sort of got caught up in some other fighting elsewhere in Normandy. Grenades against the riflemen. Oh dear, that was quite nasty. And again, artillery support for these few riflemen. Not entirely unusual for the American approach in Western Europe. Basically, they called in artillery and anything that looked even slightly suspicious, which did lead to a very, very high usage of artillery. Rangers have arrived now to lead the way for Itaperuna, and the 29th perhaps a way out of this mess. Volkswagen is catching on fire. And submachine guns for the Rangers. This could end. Oh dear, Volkswagen could be lost. Yes, indeed, Volkswagen team is down. Grenadiers now forced to run out of all this mess as well. And oh dear, they're getting caught up. The Americans are bullying them. They're not letting them move. How rude. These Grenadiers could be going down. And oh dear, that was quite a blow. One Volkswagen team, one Grenadier team, but of course a larger mechanized and armored force has arrived though, so that might make up for it. Medic bunker though is still up and running. Actually looks like he's been suffering some Grenadier losses. He's down to only one Grenadier team. That's less good. Otherwise, 2 Nebelwerfers, 2 Stuks. Also lost 1 armored car. And no infantry replacements on the way. Pushing up north here, Itaperuna leading the way. And he has caught again, more grenades. And looks like a full retreat right there. More artillery going on here, actually. Oh dear, threatening the Nebelwerfers, counter-artillery fire. It looks like that manages. And the anti-tank gun has been pulled backward. That's a new one. Either way, General Hill is going to try and take on those howitzers, but he's running into that anti-tank gun, which does force him to pull away since he doesn't actually have any further support. And I mean, had he had 1 infantry unit, he could have snuck up here, cleared out the anti-tank and then rushed in with the Stuks as an example. Other than again, lots of other support units. Some might not have worked either way.
Veterancy gained.
But looks like things are turning against Itaperuna. Again, the lack of armor now rather pushing favor over to General Hill and his infantry. In particular, since it does rather look like Itaperuna gave up initiative a bit. No further BAR upgrades. Although having 2 howitzers is quite nice. They're not really managing to hit much. Again, bit of a mismanagement of artillery resources, I feel. And Nebelwerfers blasting the American positions a bit. Oh, they're awfully close to their mines. Be careful about that. And there we go. Mine went off. Crew getting burned alive. Cooked like hot dogs. Although I don't think you cook hot dogs like that. Not with a Nebelwerfer. And the Grenadiers push them out. Not looking quite well for Itaperuna now. Again, he's really thrown away the initiative. He's a bit too much about, firing randomly at things. Rather than, firing where he actually needs it to sort of break through in a fight and really force things in his favor. Although Grenadiers right here in the south are getting hammered. Looks like they might actually survive somehow.
We are losing ground.
Yes, indeed. In the meanwhile, American breakthrough going on here. Rangers and engineers. Could be hoping to do a raid on the Nebelwerfers, on the artillery. But running into an armored car. Certainly composes a problem. And Grenadiers running into a problem here. So we might be seeing a grenade. Might be. Doesn't actually mean, apparently. But returning to Itaperuna, who's floating actually quite a bit of resources, but he's lacking the territory now. To really get the most out of it. Bit of a shame. But I suppose that is the thing that happens when you spend too many of your resources on howitzers. And you don't push enough. And he's not really upgrading either. He's only got 1 supply to upgrade. No BA upgrades, and he's still got no medic station, so he's also sort of failing behind in the department of preparing for the long fight, Strategic planning, which again is sort of pushing things into the favor of General Hill. Grenadiers and Volkswagen pushing through the center, anti-tank and sorted out.
Our fuel point is being taken by the enemy.
Flamethrower engineers running into a building on fire to try and protect it. Not entirely sure that manages much. Don't do that, Fraps, don't be too high quality either.
A fuel point is being seized.
Engineers taking minor losses. This building is not really stable, and be careful with buildings that are close to collapsing. If any units are in there, they will die alongside. Will be trapped inside and killed. More howitzer fire. Well, this is a bit interesting. And yeah, now Fraps is acting silly in the other way. Hooray! It seems to have gotten a lot rarer as of late, which I'm quite thankful for. But Itaperuna has not given up.
We are losing a sector.
Breaking through in the south as well. But again, he's sort of lacking the mobile assets to really make a breakthrough. He's lacking the armored punch, which could have helped him. And now things are rather strongly in the favor of General Hill. The Sturmgeschütz MG, Grenadiers, Nebelwerfers and armored cars roaming the fields. And of course a sniper and Stuk just charging in as well. So this might have been a slight case of, you
Sector
know,
being captured.
being a bit too fond of artillery and then not getting the other things. And again, he's sort of now in the situation where he simply has too many resources and he's not trying to spend them on, say again, you know, supplied upgrades for the infantry or anything else, which is again also sort of hog-tying him. He of course might have been giving up at this stage, sort of. Let's just speed this up a bit. But again, that is sort of what can happen when you're, you know, a bit careful, sort of getting penned in terms of territory like that. And again, also note, I mean, houses do take up a bit of population as well. And GG from both sides, all nice and happy. And of course, what can we learn from this? Well, I mean, there's a sort of, you know, about using artillery. I mean, you know, try to sort of use it in support of your attacks. That's typically where it performs best, you know, sort of blocking fire to prevent an enemy attack. Firing it madly into the darkness doesn't quite always work, in particular behind, you know, something that's sort of behind a building, which is essentially just a waste of artillery. So I mean, he didn't quite get the best effect out of his artillery, which was quite a problem. And he didn't prepare himself for the long haul. No medic stations, no further supplied upgrades, and no upgrades further beyond for the rifle besides those grenades. Bit of a miss there, I say, as well. Had he gotten some BARs earlier, I think he could have done a lot more damage to General Hill. General Hill, on the other hand, certainly had a few mistakes then. Certainly, I mean, it was a great start for Itaperuna, but he then again sort of fell apart in the long run, which is rather where a lot of Americans do have a bit of trouble sort of figuring out what to do. And of course, General Hill sort of capitalized on that. Got to the Sturm Armory and then sort of turned things about. Armored cars, Sturmgeschütz, naval rifles, and then really pushed hard against Itaperuna. So there you go. I do hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own? I'm sure you got something exciting. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.